Okay, so we are in chapter 4. In verse number 5, we saw introduction, and I said we will further expand it from this class. So, KKG Krishnakumarji, can you just chant after me, please? Just we'll stand from verse number 5. Okay, Krishnakumarji, if you can. Please.
1 minute, Babu, he's just coming.
Oh, okay, okay, no problem. Yeah.
Yes, Babu.
Okay, Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Shri Bhagavan Shri Bhagavan
Bahu Nime Vyatitani.
Baho Nime Vyatitani Baho Nime Vyatitani
Janmani Tava Charjuna.
Janmani Tava Arjuna
Charjuna.
Janmani Tava Arjuna
Tanyaham Veda Sarvani.
Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Tanyaham Veda Sarvani
Natvam Veta Parantapa.
Natvam Veta Parantapa Natvam Veta Parantapa.
Okay, so the context for this particular answer for when Bhagavan Uvacha is Arjuna wanting to ask Bhagavan, we said about, the Parampara Jnanam, everything we saw from last class, how this Karma Yogam is come through Raja Rishis, that is mostly the Kshatriyas, with the Karma Yoga protectors, and Krishna leading his own example and saying that, look, this has been taught it's a time-tested wisdom, and it is coming through generation by generation, and that's the same knowledge that I'm teaching to you. And that's when Arjuna, for all the seekers of this Gita as a nimittam, he asked two questions: that how am I to perceive, how am I to reconcile that you had taught Surya Bhagavan in the beginning of the creation, because I'm seeing you as Krishna, and I'm Vasudeva Putra, and I'm here like in our current Janma. How am I to perceive all these birds, and as if you're also there today, because I saw you as a small Krishna, then you grew up. So, you have also grown and we have played together, etc., etc. So, you're not there absolutely like a god. Now I got to perceive you suddenly. So, that kind of a very time based doubt, which is very natural suddenly when Krishna is, giving some strong message of words like that. So, and also as a kind of a knowledge that others also may need to know about two aspects of Krishna in this context of his revealing the nature, is that one is this eternity, that you've been so long right from the before creation, and then you're saying you're also going to be there ever, that I'm seeing up to now. And I said there is about, say, more than few trillion of years have passed. And also from an aspect of that everything. So sarvajñatvam and nityatvam, two aspects: eternity and omniscience. So these two are the main things that he wants to reconcile from the current context of Krishna being a Vasudeva Putra. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, and we saw them, hey Parantapa, Arjuna 1 and 2, may of mine and for Tava of yours, Bahuni Janmani. This is quite lot of births and deaths and births and again. Vyatitani has been passed. We have both taken lots of births and gone. There is kind of equal both of them in terms of birth. Wait, but then he goes further. Tana, meaning to say all those births and everything, whatever happened there, Tana Sarvani, all of those births, in the context of whatever be your mother, father, brother, sister, your son, your children, all those things, whatever. Births mean there is relation. Krishna also had children. Krishna also had parents. Births mean there's a father, mother, children, it goes on. And all the other things, Sarvani, Tan Sarvani, Tvam, you, Arjuna, Naveta. You don't know. Parantu, Aham Veda, 13 for Aham Veda. I know. So here Bhagavan is again saying his omniscience from all these birds as well. Arjuna, you know it, but I do not. You do not know, but I know. So here we need to kind of, now I'm going to, so there are two things here. Arjuna had so many births and deaths and everything as a kind of a rebirth. But Krishna had so many births and deaths, which is basically called avatar or avataram, or it is called a reincarnation. So this is all further be explained in the further shlokas. But what I'm going to do is straight away going to explain you with some differences. And I'm going to do this one, and let us see. The concepts you must understand. That there are two things happening here. So let us understand the key concepts. Then we will go further, because then the meanings are very easily expounded, and then we will reveal more into this. And these portions of Gita is got lots of depth, not just karma yogam. And then we will go into this, why we must understand this. So for any birth to happen, there must be a cause. We call it hetuhu. So, and in this column 2, I have divided one as incarnation, reincarnation, and one is a jiva, just a rebirth, janma. So what Arjuna had, or what all we are having in this classroom, we have janma. We have not had avataram. But Bhagavan is the only one who has avataram. Avataram means avatarati, means coming down. Literal meaning is coming down. Meaning to say, it is as if he is coming down from the sky or from the heaven or something. But it is not like our Ishvara is somebody who is sitting up in the heaven, in the throne, in the big throne. Oh my Lord, thou art in heaven. No, we are not like that. Here it is going to be totally different what Bhagavan is saying. And for that, we must also understand, we will go more into that one. Who is Bhagavan? That means. So is Bhagavan a person, an identity, or an entity, or what is the culmination of that Bhagavan and me? Because Isvara is also the creator, the protector, and of all these things. So that means there is an entity or an identity, and me as an identity is also there. So this we must understand. To get to that one, so there is a relative identity of Bhagavan and there's an absolute identity of Bhagavan. Are you with me there? Similarly, as how I have got a relative identity of all our Janma and an absolute identity of all of us, which is the Jnanam, which is the Brahman, which is not written here, but I'm just getting you to that concept. Very important, very important. When you're fresh, get this one today. From an absolute identity of an individual, Arjuna or Krishna or ourselves and Krishna, Bhagavan, that's Brahman. There is no difference there. But from a relative identity of an individual, and there is a Bhagavan, there are differences. There are differences. These are the differences all other religion attribute to. They just stand there. Again, imagine the Tattva Bodha, we went through all of them. That is why they have to stand up to heaven and hell. That's it. Because there is a relative identity between Bhagavan and this. But the knowledge is not at all supreme there, and that is not the real moksha. Again, go back to that one we went. All these are important to understand this. Otherwise, I can just go ahead and say literal meaning and go. As we go through this, the meanings goes deeper and deeper, and that gives you more clarity in understanding what is moksha. Again, so now coming to our individual identity. Why am I born today? Because I had done some punya and papa. Very simple. Which is the Sanatana Dharma, the basis of every school of thoughts in Sanatana Dharma. For the Abrahamic religion, there is no cause. You are just born. Because there is only one birth. For us, there are many births. And for the many births to happen, there is what is called sanchita karma from an individual. You understand what sanchita karma? The collective portion of papa and punya put together like the bank deposit. It has got some goods, assets and debts. It's got, so the debts are the papa and assets are the punya. So we all have that one. We come. It's a mixture. We do not know. Nobody can understand what is that asset and debt we have. But from the effect that we are having today, we know those things. You can always know the cause from the effect. And in that one, from a relative birth, so that means for a janma to happen, hetu for an individual, it is what we call vyashti punya papani. Meaning to say, individuals, good and bad deeds. Very simple. I have had lot of papa and punya, so I am born. Whereas Bhagavan's avatara is because of the samashti punya papani. A collective, because in the whole world, there is a collective effect of dharma. The collective punya becomes what happens? Collective good dharma. Collective papam becomes adharma. Very simple. When all of them become scoundrels, then it becomes adharma loka. When all of them becomes a very good persons, it's a dharma loka. We can even see it today. Say, for example, in Australia, it's a collective dharma loka. You can see it right from the top, netas and everybody. Right? Whereas we can see in other places. So there is a collective punya and papa within. So we can see it between countries itself here. So take the whole world in the perspective. So when the collective papa goes very high, when the adharma goes into such a particular state, that's when Bhagavan does avataram. That's what he's going to say in the later yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham, he will come and say. For all of these things, this is a very important things to know. That's why I'm putting it right in the first, then we go into that other shloka. So for an avataram, the hetu is samashti punya papani. For an individual, for a vyashti, it's a vyashti punya papan. Hetu is now understood. And I told you samashti punyam is dharma lokaha. Dharma is there. And samashti papani is adharma. And that samashti punya papani, who balances it? Bhagavan, it is his duty. I can only do it to my individual. Though we try to correct it to the samashti by saying, yes, we need to do because I have to contribute. But samashti punya papani is not in our hands at all. But all the time we try to forget the vyashti punya papani and concentrate on samashta punya papani. As if we have corrected our own vyashti. That remains, let it apart. Hetu. And so in the same one, what another hidden meaning in that is, when an individual's Vyashti Punya Papani becomes zero, I have got no birth. That means that is equal to moksha. So the aim, the difficult challenge is also not to have too much punya. But the punya to the extent that punyam is going to be a cause for giving the birth. The punya can also be a cause for not giving a birth. It's very important to know. The punya, when it is being a cause for not giving a birth, that gives what is called chitta shuddhi and jnanam, and that gives you moksham actually. So punya functions in two ways. When the punya is done with no personal ishwarartham, very simple. When the punya is done as a karma yoga, nishkama karma yoga, that gives moksha. That is also very much embedded in this. So that's why Bhagavan said, Yajnartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. So Yajnartat karmani karotu chet, that is, if you do that one, karma bandhanam nahi bhavet. It will never be there. The karma, the action which is giving you that bandham, if that same thing is done with only with the yajnartham, that is bhagavanartham, ishwararpanam karoti, if you do it, then that punya gives you jnana, chitta shuddhi and jnana pravritti, and that will never give you that gives you more total towards the moksha. And that is the thing to the giving to the zero state, which is moksha. Because you said, no, I don't want the punya, Bhagavan, you take it. You do what you want. This is where the other religion like Buddhism, which also went so far as to this one. They understood the state of zero as moksha. But what they did was they stopped it and that is a shunyatva. That's all happened in Buddhism. There is not much difference between Buddhism and Hinduism. But what we said is no, beyond that shunyatvam, because mokshatvam is what? Moksha means what? That means there is the state of zero, that I will not have a birth. Okay. So if I do not have a rebirth, that is moksha. But we said no. But then not only that zero, that absoluteness of Brahman, that which is there, number one, which is always there, that is what is our Sanatana Dharma. But Buddha in this Buddhism, they left it at that shunyatvam and left it. That's the only subtle difference. Okay, I won't go too much there. But you understand this one, particularly the hetu. And this is what we are working towards, to make sure that the cause is always for moksha and not for being again born and born again and again. And then again, now, appearance and name. Every janma has got a name and a form, swarupam. Avataram also. So in the same context of Krishna and Arjuna, Krishna is there as a swarupam of Krishna, Sri Krishna Bhagavan, as a Ishvara, Avataraha. Arjuna is there also as a swarupam. What is the difference between this both swarupam? They both maybe we have to say but a couple of inches taller or shorter, I don't know. Maybe stouter here and there, and that's all. They both appear to be the same. But Ishvara's swarupam, the name and form in Avatara, is Ishvara's choice. Whereas for a jiva, you have no choice. You have no choice. And Ishvara has got a choice to which parents he wants to be born, the place he needs to be born. But as a jiva, you have no choice for those things. And the main thing you should understand is, and why Bhagavan has got all these things is because Bhagavan is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Swarupam comes from the Swabhava. So Bhagavan Swabhavam is Nitya Shuddha, is Nitya Buddha, is Nitya Mukta. Whereas we have got that Ashuddhvam, meaning to say that Papam and Punya. That's all. That's why I wanted to come there. Because of that, a bit of asset and debt coming factor together, there is we call it Ashuddhi, but totally don't take that, but there is something clinging on. Imagine, just as if there is something that is clinging on to you. That is what I'm calling Ashuddha. And also, the Jnanam is not Purvam. So I am Ajnani still. And I'm still not released. That is why I'm born. That is why I said we are born with ignorance. The ignorance is because that Ajnani of that one. And because I'm bound by avidya, I've got that limited knowledge. And my birth, again, every birth I take is to get that absolute knowledge. Because through that knowledge only I can get that moksha. And Bhagavan, when he's born, when he's taking up, so because you are born with ignorance, Maya controls your birth. Which is what we're saying that, so the Maya controls with birth, means the Prakriti. Maya is the total ignorance in this world. Vyashti, Samashti. Samashti Ajnanam is call it as a Maya, but that's a Prakriti. That decides. You never know next birth where we will be born. We never knew what law, where we were born last time. But Bhagavan, because Maya is in his control, that's what he's going to say. Prakritim swam adhishtaya. Maya is in Bhagavan's control, whereas we are bound by Maya. And Bhagavan is liberated at birth itself. But we are born at the time with the ignorance. That is why Bhagavan is omniscient. That's why he knew all these births, whereas we never knew all the births. Now we understand why we did not know. But Bhagavan did not say, but this is what it is, because this Maya, what we call as Avarana Shakti. Whereas Bhagavan is Anavaranam, that is, he is not clouded by that. Just the different words, that's all. So that Swarupam is very important for us to understand. And next is, because these three are important, right? Hetu, because of there's a janma. In the janma, there's a swarupam. With the swarupam, what do? I do some karyam, activities. In the activities, so what is Bhagavan going to do in this avatara? And what am I going to do in my karyam activities as an individual? Bhagavan's karyam is dharma samsthapanam, protecting the good, and vinashaya dushkritam, destruction of the bad. Whereas for individual, we have to burn the bags of all the previous karma. Both good karma also has to be burned, right? Because good karmas has to be burned. That is why we have to enjoy whatever good things we get in life. But while enjoying the good things, the carefulness is not to do any bad things. Because that's very natural. What's what Bhagavan is going to say in more and more in these ones. And bad karmas for which we incur pain and ignorance. With the good karma, because we are now in this Gita class, getting the knowledge. You have had the Gita knowledge before in your previous birth. Bhagavan is going to say in chapter 6. That is why you are there today. You have not just landed up in a Gita class or Gita knowledge or in that knowledge because it just happened today out of some interest. You have done that so many births before. And that will never ever go, even if you want. Krishna will say. So those are the good karmas which will again and again come. And they kind of involuntarily, without your knowledge, work in eradicating the bad karma, the pain and ignorance. That's how the pain and karma goes up. And it is a process of knowledge through attain liberation. Whereas Bhagavan is, whenever he is in his actions, it's a kind of a self-harmonizing. When I say self-harmonizing, it's a corrective nature. In fact, from a subtler aspect of Avatara is happening every day. Every minute it is happening. Only thing, it's in a very subtle stage. So once you understand this key concept a little bit, we will go further into this one. In this one, Dave, anybody have any doubts that you want? You're welcome to ask, and I'll try to see if I can explain. Yeah? Okay. Okay. Next one. Ganapati Ramanji, can you chant after me? So that is why Bhagavan, he said, you do not know, but I know. Now we understand why Bhagavan said from that one. Okay. Okay, Ganapati Ramanji, if you can chant after me. Ajopi sannapyayatma.
Ajobi sanvyatma. Ajobi sanvyatma.
Bhutanam ishvaropi san.
Bhudanam ishvaropi san. Bhudanam ishvaropi san.
Prakritim swamadhisthaya.
Prakritim swamadhisthaya. Prakritim swamadhisthaya.
Sambhavam yatma mayaya.
Sambhavam yatma mayaya. Sambhavam yatma mayaya.
Okay. So, how do Bhagavan then, now, so Bhagavan is further coming to say about his, if there is no, if Bhagavan has got no dharma and adharma, see, I told, we said, for a birth to happen, there should be a punya or papa together, or a dharma and adharma together. That's why we are born. Because Bhagavan does not have any of them, why is he born? That avatar. So that is what Bhagavan again is saying. Hey Arjuna, aham ajaha. Though, add on one. Okay. Though I am ajaha, I'm unborn, avyayatma. Meaning to say, my rupam or anything never depletes. My body as if never ages. It's not this body though. You should not take it as physical body. Though I do not have any age of its own, or because age means there is a depletion. So there is no decay or anything of that. At Avyayatma, San Api, though I am unborn, though I am not really one which goes old or decays, Sun, that is what is my nature too, though it is appearing to be like that. So you must take it as that, being so, and also Bhutanam Ishvaraha San Api, and I am the ultimate Lord, though I am also the ultimate Lord of all the beings in this world. From the smallest of the living germ to the biggest Chaturmukha Brahma, if though I am the Ishvara of them son too, how do I then son Api Swam. Swam means what? In that particular my own swam of my own swam Prakritim. This whole creation, that swarm Prakriti. In this Prakriti means Prakriti Maya. This Prakriti, my Prakriti, Swam Maya Prakriti. My Maya, which is in my control, which I said, right? Swam Prakriti Adhishtaya, establishing it as if in my control for the name and the form that I want to take, to the place I want to be born, to the parents I want to be born. That is what that Prakriti, Maya, Prakriti, Adhishtaya, putting that as my control into my, the seat that I want to take. And what do? Atma Mayaya Sambhavami. So this Atma Mayaya, Atma Maya means of my Maya, I am shaping that and I do an avatar, Sambhavami, Yuge. I take my avatar in every yuga. Now, here, this is what I'm very important we wanted to again say. So, yeah, I'm going back a little bit more to the Tattva Bodha, because those things are very clear for us to understand. Now, in Maya, so we need to understand something here, Maya, because that is what is a little bit of a, once you get this, see, Maya is something which we cannot understand, but we still try to understand because there is no other way, because that is the way we try to understand more and more of Maya. And end of the day, we come to a conclusion that Maya, I cannot understand you totally in depth, but I have understood in a way to not understand you any further. What Maya? So we said Maya is what? Triguna Maya. That is one definition we've been saying, right? Triguna Maya. Maya has got three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And that is what Bhagavan has been saying right from number 3 as well, right? So this Sattva, Maya, and Rajas, we have to only now understand everything in this three context of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So when Bhagavan's Rupam, when he appears, his Swarupam is Shuddha Sattvam. Shuddha Sattvam. Bhagavan is, when he is appearing, he is 100% Sattvam. In our Swarupam, it is always mixture of, however one could be a jnani. If you are born as a human being, you are mixed with the Sattvam, Rajas, and Tamas. That is why we have to sleep, we have to eat, we have to do all the things, duties as a human being. That is Sattvam, Rajas, and Tamas. But for Ishvara, is pure Sattvam, 100% Sattvam. Only Ishvara can appear as 100% Sattvam. That is why he says Maya. And if that Sattvam also is not there, then Bhagavan is Brahman, absolute Brahman. For Bhagavan to appear as an avataram, he takes that Maya of Sattva Rajasamas and he says, I am now going to take form as 100% Sattvam. Only he can do that. That is what is avatara. Whereas every other birth, what one may take, has to have a little bit of that Rajas and Tamas mixed together. That is what is the avidya. That is why we will not be able to know our previous birth. If you are 100% sattva, which is in your control, then you will be able to understand your previous birth. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, for a mumukshu or a moksha jnani, at the last minute, he will come to know, I believe, all his previous birth. That's what he has said in Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, but I don't know. But that's what many people have said. But having said that, that's a different one. Why should I know about previous births? That's really not important for moksha, please. That's not what we are interested here. But all we are trying to say is, Bhagavan, when he takes that Maya into his control, the thing I wanted to say is, Maya takes the complete 100% of Sattva. So his Swarupam is Sattvam. That is why, you know, that Adaram Maduram, Vachanam Maduram, you hear that one? Everywhere you put Sattvam, Adaram Sattvam, Vachanam Sattvam, Rupam Sattvam, Buddhim, everything is Sattvam. That Maduram, you put Sattvam, that's Bhagavan. That you cannot put that one to anybody else except for Ishvara. Adharam Maduram, you said Vachanam Maduram, Vachanam Hasitam Maduram, everything Maduram. That Maduram is nothing but the Sattvam, pure Sattvam, 100% Sattvam. That only Bhagavan can happen. And that's why Bhagavan said, Swam Prakritim. And also another thing here we must understand. Whenever Atma Mayaya, people can go hours and hours into that. How much? Oh, 444. I got. Okay. So, but these verses are important to go in depth. So, pardon me if I'm taking more time. Now, Atma Mayaya, when Bhagavan said my Maya, there's a lot of things to understand. Whenever I say, for example, my body, that means body is different, I am different. When I say my mind, that my mind is different, I am different. When I say my buddhi, buddhi is different. I am meaning to say, I am not the body really. I am not the mind. I am not the buddhi. With the minute I say my, I am not that. So also Bhagavan wants to indicate here that I am not the Maya. And so if you are not the Maya, so then is Maya different from you? No, because Maya as an entity really doesn't exist. There is no entity as a Maya. It is like that, you know, the cob's web. So it tends to take the web from itself and then retracts it back. So that is what people always say in Avatara. And as if that Maya really doesn't exist really. But only for the sake of creation, he projects the Maya himself and puts that Maya as Adhishtanam. In that he appears as an Avatara. But Avatara is not Maya. In the relative context. And the purpose, Bhagavan, he says, then, if all these things have to be there, Krishna, Maya is the Ashrayam. Bhagavan Krishna is a Adhyasam. That means he's on top of this. But that's okay. So he's the imposed form. That's why I said, he's the imposed form on that one, the Maya. Okay, so if that being the pure Sattva aspect of Bhagavan that is there, so Bhagavan, why do you have to then do this one? The purpose, he says, yes, there is a, when does this happen? And he says that Maya is my Vaishnavi Maya. He says, Bhagavan says that Maya Shakti is the Vaishnavi Maya. The same thing we say when we say Parvati, Parameshwara. See, all the names are just only, that is the beauty of our religion. Anything, same thing. Parameshwara is the one, Parvati is the Maya, we can say, or the other way around. It is all the names and forms are very relative. So Bhagavan, he says, okay, Nandini ji, can you please chant after me? So when and how does it take place? Bhagavan says, Yada yada hi dharmasya.
Unmute Tirlada. Sorry, can you hear me, Babuji?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yes.
Yada yada hi dharmasya.
Yada yada hi dharmasya. Yada hi dharmasya.
Glanir bhavati bharata.
ग्लानिर्भवति भारत ग्लानिर्भवति भारत
Abhyuttanamadharmasya.
न धर्मस्य अभ्युत्थान धर्मस्य
Tadatmanam srujamyaham.
तदात्मानं सुजाम्यहं तदात्माहं सुजान्यमहम्.
Okay, very good. So Arjuna, Krishna Bhagavan again he says, and when does this happen? Avatara. So Bhagavan he says, hey Arjuna, hey Bharata, Arjuna, yada yada, whenever, yada yada, dharmasya glanihi. Dharmasya here means in that glani means dissipation, or almost at the end point of destruction. So that means dharma is also dharmasya glanihi, meaning to say that dissipation or the decaying of dharma to the almost the final form of extinction, when that is almost going to happen, dharmasya, the dharma here means that of all the punya, or the punya, that all the one that is vyashti punya, not a samashti punya. I told you before. The samashti punya which is in this world as a dharma, that so many people have already done here, when that glanir bhavati, I've got to say abhyuttanam adharmasya. Okay, glanihi, dharmasya glanihi, and number 6 and 7. Adharmasya abhyuttanam, 6 and 7. Not only is that when that dissipation or destruction, final destruction of particular dharma happens, and adharmasya abhyuttanam, meaning to say that adharmam, that papam, adharmam, adharmasya abhyuttanam means udbhavam, meaning to say increment, abhyuttanam, abhiuttanam. Uttanam means, like getting up. Abhiuttanam means what? Uprise, and it has come to a very culmination. It has come very high, adharmam. And dharmam is only somewhere there. When that kind of a stage happens, Arjuna, bhavati, when that bhavati, tada, at that time, tada, tadahi, in that very minute itself, that time, aham atmanam srujami. Then I take this avataram and come down to resurrect this one. Okay, now in the on the adharmam, Shankara goes even one more thing to say. Dharma and adharma, very clearly he says as varnashramadi lakshanasya. Not only papa and punya, and he quotes it to the varna ashramadi lakshanasya. So when today we say that we are in that Chaturmukha Brahmaji is half the Kali Yuga, I mean, those said how this one will going to happen, what is going to happen, Hinduism, the other people have gone in, coming into majority, all this. That is a Lord, that is a Ishvara's kriya. My thing is to only make sure that whatever dharma that I can abide by, it is not in our control. But that does not mean that I can't contribute to the Lokakshema. We can certainly. And also, avataram is also happening through other people every time. Bhagavan will happen, say there are many avataram keeps on happening in a, like, minute avataram. In fact, every Maha Sant that who are born today, some people are known, some people are very well known, like our Sringeri Shankaracharya, Puri Shankaracharya, so many Kanchi Shankaracharya, so many Acharyas are there, so many Ramanujacharyas there, so many Madhva Acharya, so many other Acharyas are there, Sant Bhagavans are there. They are all avataram to cater to some aspect of having the dharma to pravarti in their form. So those avataram keeps on happening in the world. That also Bhagavan very clearly wants to say. So in the Srujam tada atmanam srujam, aham srujami. So that is the condition of the time, Bhagavan, he says. Next one. More purpose. We'll come to the purpose one more. Chandrasekhar ji, can you chant after me?
Yeah, okay.
Paritranaya sadhunam.
Paritranaya sadhunam. Paritranaya sadhunam.
Vinashaya cha dushkritam.
Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Vinashaya cha dushkritam.
Dharma samsthapanarthaya.
Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Dharma samsthapanarthaya.
Sambhavami yuge yuge.
Sambhavami yuge yuge. Sambhavami yuge yuge.
Okay. So again, here Bhagavan, he says, when I take that avatar, what do I do? And what is my karyam? Because now the avataram has been taken. Yes, I have to do this self-correction. So in the world, there is an auto-correction mechanism or an auto-immunity capacity built in the Prakriti. Very, very clear, very important to understand. Bhagavan's creation will never go out of disharmony. Never go out of this auto-immunization. There is an auto-immunization system and governance that Bhagavan has inbuilt in this nature. Having left to said that this is all from the absolute context of Bhagavan's, okay? So what Bhagavan, so he says, Arjuna, sadhunam paritranaya. First one. Here sadhuna means the pious, the religious, the righteous, dharmic people. So the dharma in the world is only done and then is stabilized by the people who practice dharma. As far as there is a dharmi, there is a dharma. When the dharmis dissipate, there is no dharma. So when Bhagavan says in that glanihi, that at least there are still some sadhus there. Meaning to say people who practice the dharma. So that means there will always be somebody who does the sanatana dharma. It will never go away. That's why it's called sanatana dharma. So the sanatana dharma practitioner who are these sadhus, to paritranaya, prakrishena tranaya, to the complete all-round protection. Paritranaya, like Parikshit. When you say Parikshit means he looked around. So for Trana means to protection, not just the Tranam protection. Paritranaya, for protecting them from all aspects around him. Be it a place, be it time, be it his resources, be it anything close to those people. For the entire protection of the sadhuna. So my first thing is to protect these people. So who is the protector of this dharma? Dharmis? Bhagavan. Always. And dushkritam vinashaya. And the people who are the adharmi, who have been accumulating more and more of papa, and they have been contributing to this samashti papa, by which this world has become so burdened, that dushkritam of this evil doers as in those people, vinashaya, for their destruction. Vinashaya means mulasya, eradicating them once for all. By doing that, dharma samsthapana arthaya, to again re-establish the dharmi, the dharma, the sadhus, the sanatana dharma, for the protection with the Vedic dharma, sanatana dharma sthapanataya, yuge yuge sambhavami. In every yuga, I do assume as an incarnation. Now, in one of the bhashyam, very nicely I heard the other day, for Bhagavan, while he is doing this, the easiest part he says is the vinashaya dushkritam. He says, there is a plantain that I have to give this fruit to this world, and this vinashaya dushkritam is like just peeling the skin of the banana. Eating the banana, peeling the skin is the most easiest thing. The வாழைப்பழத்தை உரிக்கிற மாதிரி அவனை ஈச்சி உரிச்சு போட்டுடுவேன் அப்படிங்கிற. And and the banana will be easily be given to him. It is that easy, he says. It is not a big deal for me. But often we think that this destruction of the evil person is going to be the most difficult one. He says that is the easy part. That's not a big problem for me. But the difficult part is for the little bit of the sadhus to keep on doing the dharma, and for them to keep on doing, for them to, what can I say, inspire them to keep doing the dharma. So the most important thing is this: for us to be a sadhu is the most important thing. That is also a hidden message in this very, very important thing. Okay, so then again, if goes further, yuga, in every yuga, in Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga. But though I said, even though in a yuga there is in Kali Yuga 430,000 years, so we may not see one avatar in our birth time or something, but still avatars are happening every now and then. It is happening in a very subtle form, and through people that like our acharyas, it is every time happening. And that is what Bhagavan's assurance for us, because we need that assurance from Bhagavan. And so Bhagavan says, by knowing my avatara thus. So let me go to one more thing here. What is the purpose? So I'm going to give you one more. The same reincarnation and rebirth. So this is again is a one I will share with you. So the Bhagavan is going to, maybe probably I will come to. So Bhagavan will say that all these things, I'll give you a prelude and then we will go into the shloka. That'll be better. So what Bhagavan says, to summarize both before going to the next verse, so the philosophical factors in all these things. So we said Lord's incarnation and human birth, same. And both are important. That's what Krishna is going to say. That you must understand these, just not for understanding, oh yes, Bhagavan is very great. Bhagavan is, yes, now I understood. Not only for the Shraddha, Bhakti and the Vishwasam on Bhagavan. This is important for moksha, Bhagavan, he says. That's what I want to get into this particular table and then let you know. Once you understand this, Bhagavan's avatara Mahima and the Janma, Vyashti, Punya, Papa, Punarjanma, he says the moksha is very, very easy to understand. Philosophically, that's what he will say. So we said for the cause, which is the hetuhu, just in a different word in English, that's all. Samashti punyam and papam, that is for the whole macro, that is as a accumulation of everybody is one. Collective punyam and papam, vyashti, human's birth is vyashti, which we covered. Purpose, again, which we covered in the previous one, dharma samsthapanam, sadhunam paritranam, dushkritam vinashanam. So 3. And whereas for a human births, swapunya papa pala bhojanam. So these are all here Sanskritam, but just so meaning to say the consumption of my existing punya papam, that is my purpose, first one. And chaturvida purushartham. That is maybe our thing is chaturvida purushartham, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But moksham is the most important in that. But that cannot be attained with the dharma and artha and kama, which is the dharma sahita kama, dharma sahita artha. With that, the purushartham of Bhagavan will also say in the next few verses, he will say about the chaturvida purushartham. That's why he'll then come chaturvarnya maya system, comes in that context. And he will say mumukshutvam. And mumukshutvam is the real purushartham. That is our purpose. This is Bhagavan's purpose. So once you understand these two purposes, we won't mix into the other purpose of Bhagavan's avatar. Then another, knowledge during birth. Bhagavan is sarvajnani. I am alpajnani. And so I have to get that absolute choice. Choice of identity, time and place, and even for me said, Bhagavan has got full choice. I've got no choice, absolutely zero choice. And how does it happen? Lord takes Maya into his control and taking Prakriti as his abode, whereas we are in the grips of Maya by virtue of one Sanchita Karma, our Janam is destined. When does it happen? When for our Lord's incarnation, when a self-correction or a self-assignment is utterly required. For us, when the environment for his next birth is conducive, father and mothers are receptive. So it is just not you, and your environment is also ready. Then you happen for you. Yada, tada. This is my time and time. And what are the goals achieved? Bar Bhagavan is a loka samrakshanam. For me, it depends upon individual's free will exercised. It's actually moksha, but then it is upon your individual's free will exercised. And that's what Bhagavan is going to explain the further chapter, the further one. That's why I wanted to come. So now who can chant after me, Ji? Who is there? Sumati, can you please? Okay. Janma karma cha me divyam.
Janma karma cha me divyam. Janma karma cha me divyam.
Evam yo veti tatvataha.
Evam yo veti tatvataha. Evam yo veti tatvataha.
Tyaktva deham punarjanma.
Tyaktva deham punarjanma. Tyaktva deham punarjanma.
Naiti mameti sorjuna.
Naiti
Mameti Sorjuna.
Mameti sorjuna. So naiti mameti sorjuna.
Okay, thank you. So here again, that's what Bhagavan is going to say about the importance of knowing the Avatara Mahima, the Palasuti, what we've seen in this today's class totally. So Bhagavan says, hey Arjuna, number one, Janma. Janma means Mama Janma, that is Bhagavan's Janma. This Avatara Janma, this Avatara Tattvam, this Avatara Mahatvam. And this Janma is also the Bhagavan's Maya Rupam. Maya Rupam and Karma. That karma is the sadhunam paritranam vinashaya dushkritam. So this Janma is the Bhagavan. When I say Maya Rupam, Bhagavan is not Maya, but the Maya Adhishtaya Rupam. That's why I said Maya Rupam. The Maya Adhishtam Padintu Vara Bhagavan Udiya the Janma, Avataram. That's all. And Bhagavan's karma is all me. Me Janma, me karma. That is Bhagavan's Krishna's Janma, Bhagavan Krishna's karma. Cha of these two, Divyam, very divine, utmost. That is why we keep on again turning to Bhagavatam and so many of them. Divyam, me Janma, me karma, Divyam. How to know? Just not by just reading. Of course, it is very nice to read Bhagavatam. Of course, it is very nice to see Krishna's Leela, to see Krishna's Mahima through everything, even through this Gita. But Bhagavan says, just not alone that one, Arjuna. Evam yo tattvataha veti. That's very important. Once who knows this, tattvataha, philosophically knowing the intrinsic meaning of all my Leela, of my Janma, not only as Krishna, of my Nrsimha, of my Hiranya, all the other avatara. Veti tattvataha. Of Parameshwara, of Parvati, of Ambaj, everything is Bhagavan here. Tattvataha veti, philosophical. That's why I did the previous tabular column for you. That's very important for here. That's what he says, veti tattvataha. One who just knows philosophically the sattva, rajas, tamas, that's very important. Then only he knows the Maya. Without knowing Maya and its attributes, we will never be able to know the tattvataha, which I've already explained to you. Tattvataha yo veti. Saha, number 11. That person, like us, this class. Saha, deham tyaktva. Deham tyaktva means by having, when his body departs, when at the time of, after the time of his disposal of his body, deham tyaktva, punarjanma, 14 and 15. Punarjanma na yeti. Naiti means na yeti means he does not get another punarjanma. That means he attains moksha. So by even understanding this Bhagavan's tattva, the Avatara tattva in depth, again and again, read this one. Beautiful. And they both are important. That knowing the Bhagavan's Leela and everything, but intrinsically knowing everything in the tattva. and trying to abide by that dharma. That both with that jnanam, tattvataha, the tattvataha is what Bhagavan is going to say. Through the bhakti, through the jnanam. Veti, taha punarjanmana yeti. But then what happens to him? 18, very important. Mamyeti, Bhagavan says. He anga pola purajanman kadadapa. Enna vandu adayarampa. Mamyeti, punarjanmana yeti. Mamyeti, says Bhagavan. Go. One small thing here, same thing. In this one, the beautiful analogy can be given by Sri Lord Hanumanji. So when Hanuman was asked, you are a bhakta, you also are a mumukshu. So how does it happen? How do you reconcile bhakti, jnanam and everything? So when the Arjuna, so Anjanaya says, hey Lord Rama, when I know that I am this body, I am this mind, I am this buddhi, I am your dasa, I am your servant. And when I am in a meditation, oh Lord Rama, you are in my heart. And in my Atma Jnanam of that absolute Jnanam, when I want to say, I don't see anything far different from you. In the absolute knowledge of when I have understood everything, oh Lord Rama, I have seen no identity as myself ever being there. It's only one identity, that one existence, that is a Parabrahman, that is you alone. So that is how this is what to be known as Tattvataha, that Krishna wants to say here. Tattvataha veti, Tattvataha. Brahmavit. So what that Tattvataha veti is, Ishvara Abheda Jnanam. That Brahma Jnanam. Tattvataha veti is the Brahma Jnana way, Brahma Jnani. And having now seen all these things, if you think that it is so difficult, that it is beyond our reach, Bhagavan assures, no, this is not. That is possible for everybody. Ihaiva, in this Janma. So he says, so Shubha, can you chant after me?
Yes.
Vitaraga bhaya krodhaha.
वीतरागभयक्रोधाः वीतरागभयक्रोधाः
Manmaya mamupashritaha.
मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः
Bahavo jnana tapasa.
बहवो ज्ञानतपसा
Puta madbhavamagataha.
पूता मद्भावमागताः पूता मद्भावमागताः.
So Bhagavan assures, no Arjuna, Bhagavaha. This 8 is very important. There are a lot of people, every day there may be people attaining this moksha. It is not far that it is in 1 in billion birth, 1 in trillion birth, or if them after the yuga when Bhagavan, no, it is not that. Because there is one school of thought, people think, anyway, in this Purushartha, I will see one day there is going to be the yuga, when that ends, or when everything finishes, Bhagavan anyway is going to be, I will be a sadhu, and then no, it is not. It is still possible in this very birth. That's what Bhagavan he says. And he says again here, and who are those people? He says, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha. Meaning to say, Vita means devoid of raga, any desire or any likes and dislike. Raga, Bhaya, any fear or anything of that sort, of any ahankara, any fear. I said, fear arises in the last class, we said, due to only ignorance. So, Vita Bhaya, Vita Raga, Vita Krodhaha, of any anger towards himself or to others or anybody, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha, Manmaya Mam Upashritaha. That Manmaya means Matmaya, meaning to say, that Brahmavidaha. That Manmaya only is the Ishvara Abheda Buddhi. Like, when Anjanaya said that in my ultimate state of knowledge, oh Lord Rama, I see no difference between you and me. In that kind of a non-differentiated knowledge, and with that bhakti also as a dasa bhakti, dasa bhava, and everything in the relative form when it is required, in that three state of relative and absolute identities well established, well understood to Bhagavan, that is Mom, when Bhagavan says Mom, to Ishvara, Upashritaha, they thus take that refuge in him, ultimate refuge in him. That is the upasana, what Bhagavan says. That upashritaha, Bhagavaha, like that there are so many people, and it is possible for many, probably for all. Bhagavaha. And how do they do the tapas? Jnana tapasa. So the jnana tapasa means here, the tapas that is taken here, which is with is no expectations of any fruits. The only thing that happens in this tapas is jnana pravritti by itself. And this is what Bhagavan will say in further in this particular chapter. If you want, make a note of it. This jnana tapasa is a very important word. 4:19 he will say again about this jnana tapas. Chapter 4:19. Jnanagni dakta karmanam tamahu panditam buddha tamahu panditam. Jnana agni, that jnana tapas is equal to jnana agni. Jnanagni dagda karmanam. Every action, even if it has any, because every action is going to fetch fruits, positive, negative. But that jnanagni dagda, that quenches, that burns it. That's the jnana tapas. So jnanagni, that 4:19 when we come. Then again 4:37. Yataidam si samidhognihi basmasat kurute Arjuna jnanagni sarva karmani basmasat kurute Arjuna. That jnanagni, again he will say that basmasat, you know how that diminishes, it just nullifies everything. And again he will say nagi jnanena sadrisham pavitramega vidyate 4:38. That is why this is called jnana karma sannyasa yoga. This chapter. All these words are the bullet points, are they are the kind of what can I say, words with a high amount of meaning for this chapter. They're just not jnana tapasa. That is why this is a jnana karma sannyasa yoga. This jnana tapasa, by that jnana tapas, putaha, meaning to say purified, or that they have become so wise and that they have become so trenched in that wisdom by which they are so happy and they are resplendent in that happiness all the time. In that one, Arjuna, mat bhavam agataha. In that mat bhavam, Bhagavan, he says, it is, we don't become Ishvara. It's not that. Bhagavan, he says, mat bhavaha. That's very important to know that. Okay, that pure existence states of Brahma with Brahma Jnanam. Brahma Jnana, Brahma Nishta, Sthita Prajnaha, Sthita Prajna Bhavaha. Mat Bhavaha is equal to Sthita Prajna Bhavaha. Jnana Nishta Bhava, Agataha. They attain. Agataha is only Alankara word because they are ever that Brahma Jnani. But only thing is, it has been now revealed to them. So mat bhava is equal to sthita prajnaha or jnana nishta agataha. By that they attain the moksham. So from 11 and 12 we will chant, we will see next class. But what Bhagavan wants to say is that this avatara, so what we did, I'm just reconciling this because it's very important here. So we did only 5 verses. In the 5 verses, we saw the difference between rebirth and reincarnation. And then in that reincarnation of Bhagavan's avatara Mahima, when it happens, and all the things we thought, hetu, that is cause, the name and form, how it happens, and what is the karyam and what is the goal. And Vyashti, in individual also, we saw parallelly, because both will have to be adjacently seen to know my duty, my janma in the perspective of Bhagavan's avatara. And then we also saw Bhagavan said, this itself, when it is understood by philosophically, tattvataha veti, that person itself attains moksha. So this itself is a moksha sadhanam. And he says this is attainable by everybody. It is not only to some limited few or a 1 in billion. So with that, I'll finish the class today. Okay. Rest of them we will see next class. Much more Bhagavan is going to say how that, though having known that the people who are still in pursuit of this knowledge, pursuit of this karma yoga, why they are not able to attain, like people like me and you, that also Bhagavan will say. And that we will see in the next class more in detail. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturto Dhyayam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Shiva, can you just chant 2-3 verses from the Gita Mahatmyam? Thank you.
Actually, I don't have book now.
Okay. No problem. Anybody? Any volunteers? Chandrasekhar or?
Yes, I will.
Okay, please. Yeah.
Bhagavan Parameshana
Good.
Bhaktirabhyakini Prarabdam Pujyamanasya Kadam Bhakti Prabhu